Okay, so today we'll be looking at systems of equations. We'll discuss equations with one solution, no solution, and infinitely many solutions, how to solve equations with Desmos, and we'll look at word problems. But firstly, we'll look at what equations are. So linear equations are basically straight lines. There are two types, there are two ways you can write these straight lines as equations. You have the slope-intercept form and you have the standard form. So you write the slope-intercept form like this: y is equals to mx plus b, where m represents the slope and b represents the y-intercept. In the standard form, you have ax plus by is equals to c. That's the standard template. Now, when you're finding the solution, you have three possible cases. So case 1 is that you have one solution, case 2 is no solution, and case 3 is infinitely many solutions. If it's one solution, it's going to look something like this, where the two lines intersect at one point. That's one solution. And if you have it in standard form, this is the formula for that, where a1 over a2 is not equals to b1 over b2. So for example, in this case I have standard equations. So in this case a1 is 3 because it's ax plus by is equals to c. So in this case that's the first equation, that's the second one. So in the first one a is 3, in the second one a is 1, right? A is 1. So 3 over 1, and then b is 2 in the first one and b is 1 in the second one. So now we can see from this that 3 over 1 is not equals to 2 over 1. So in this case it follows this rule, which means it is going to be one solution. The second case is if we have no solution. In this case a is equals to b but not equal to c. So for example, in this case a1 is 3, a2 is 3, b1 is 2, b2 is 2, c1 is 8, c2 is 9. In this case 3 over 3 is 1, which is equals to 2 over 2, which is 1, but it's not equal to 8 over 9. So it looks like this: 1 is equals to 1, but it's not equals to 8 over 9, which means it's going to be no solution. And then the third case is if it's infinitely many solutions. Basically that means everything is equal. So if two equations look identical, it's going to be infinitely many solutions. Okay, let's look at an example. So let's say, for example, we have, by the way, if you have two equations, you can also use Desmos to solve for the points of intersection. So you can plug in the equation. This is the first one, that's the second one. You plug them in and it'll give you a solution, right? So we'll be looking at Desmos as well. So example 1 says we have these two equations. It says we have no solution. If it's no solution, the rule is a1 over a2 is equals to b1 over b2, but not equal to c1 over c2. So you simply take this over this, minus a over 4, and minus 12 over 3, and we have 15 over minus 2, 15 over negative 2. In this case, a is equals to b, but it's not equals to c, right, using this rule. Now, because it's not equal to this, we don't have to look at this. We can simply solve this part. So we have minus a over 4 is equals to negative 12 over 3. Negative 12 over 3 is negative 4. And then minus a over 4. The minus can cancel on both sides. So that means a over 4 is equals to 4, which means a is going to be 16. So a is 16. Example 2, we have this question. It says it has infinitely many solutions. We need to find m plus n. If it's infinitely many solutions, everything is equal. So a1 over a2, that's going to be 3 over m, is equals to negative 5 over negative n, is equals to 8 over 32. So now I can say, because we have two minus signs here, we can cancel that, so it becomes positive. So I can say 3 over m is going to be equals to 8 over 32, because I cannot solve it with this. So I'll say 3 over m is equals to 8 over 32, and I can say this is also equals to this. 5 over n is equals to 8 over 32. Now, in this case, I can simplify 8 over 32 by saying 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 4 is 32. So that's 3 over m is equals to 1 over 4, which means if you cross multiply, 3 times 4 is 12, and that's going to be m times 1, which is m. M is 12, And same thing here, 5 over n is equals to 1 over 4. Cross multiply, you'll get n is equals to 20. They're saying they want m plus n. M plus n is going to be 32. You just add them together. Okay, so we'll look at the next question. It says a group of students, we have 30 students who ordered lunch from a restaurant. Each student gets either a burger or a salad. The price of a burger is $5, the price of salad is $6. They spent a total of $162. Now, I can say, for example, the number of burgers ordered are X and the number of salads are going to be, let's say, Y. So in this case, X are the number of students who get burgers, Y are the number of students who get salads. So in total, that should mean that I have 30 students. So 30 burgers and 30 salads. Now, each burger is $5, so I can say 5x to find the price of burgers, and then 6y for the price of salads. And that's going to be equals to 162. I can now use Desmos to solve for this. So x plus y is 30. I can say x plus y is equals to 30, and 5x plus 6y is equals to 162. So that gives me that's going to be 18 and 12. That means x is going to be 18, y is 12, and we're looking for the number of burgers, which means we're looking for x. So in this case, x is 18, so 18 burgers in total were ordered. Example 4, it says it has, we have one solution, we want the value of y. Okay, so again, we can use Desmos for this. Y plus 3x is equals to 0, so y plus 3x is going to be equals to 0, and the second equation is x squared plus 2y squared, x squared plus 2y squared is equals to 76. So I get 2 points with this, for this, minus 2, 6, and 2 minus 6. It says y has to be greater than 0, so y is 6 or negative 6, and because it's greater than 0, it has to be 6. So y is going to be 6. Next question, it says we have xy is 8, xz is 5, yz is 10. We need to find xyz. So what you can do is, if you multiply them together, xy times xz times yz, x times x is x squared, y times y is y squared, z times z is z squared. So if you multiply them together, you get 8 times 5 times 10, which is going to be 400. So this is going to be equals to 400. And because we want just x, y, and z, if you take the root on this side and the root on this side, it's going to be x, y, z is equals to 20. And that'll be your answer. And then we have example 7. It says, how many solutions does this system have? If it talks about the system, we're looking at all equations involved. So we have this one, and we have this equation. So we need to see basically where they're intersecting. So they intersect at this point and at this point. So these are the common intersections. So we will say they have 2 common intersection points. So 2 solutions. Question 1. We need to find the solution to the system. So the best way to solve this is with Desmos. So we'll say 3x minus 5y is 11. 3x minus 5y is equals to negative 11. And x is equals to 1 minus 3y. So that tells us we have the point minus 2 and 1. Minus 2, 1. And yeah, that's going to be B. Question 2. Again, it would be better to use Desmos for this. Y plus 2x is 20. Y plus 2x is equals to 20, and 6x minus 5y is equals to 12. So we get the point 7 and 6. 7 and 6 is going to be D. Question 3. We need to find y minus x. So for this, look for a common pattern. So I need y minus x. So if I add them together, I'm going to get 7x minus 7y is equals to 21 plus 14 is 35. If I divide everything by 7, I will get x minus y is equals to 5. We need y minus x, so basically we just multiply everything with minus 1. So minus 1 and minus 1. If you multiply with minus 1, we get minus x plus y is minus 5, which is the same as saying y minus x is negative 5. So it'll be negative 5. Next question, we need to find x plus y. So in this, we can add them. We'll get 3x plus 9y, but that won't really help us because we need x plus y. So we cannot use this. So we'll have to use Desmos. 2x plus 5y is 24. So 2x plus 5y is 24, and x plus 4y is 15. So the point of intersection is going to be 7 and 2. So x is 7, y is 2, 7 plus 2 is going to be 9. Next question, we need to find the value of x, y. So let's first simplify this. We can bring the 2x on this side, so that becomes 3x plus 2x, which is 5x, plus y is going to be 8. That's the first one simplified. The second one is negative 3x plus 2y is negative 10. So 5x plus y is 8. 5x plus y is equals to 8, and minus 3x plus 2y is going to be negative 10. So the point of intersection is going to be 2 minus 2. X is 2, y is minus 2. Fix that, 2 and minus 2. So if you multiply them together, you get minus 4. Okay, next. Question 6 says we need to find the solutions for the system. In this case, the system is represented by this equation and this one. So because they don't have any intersections, we'll say they have no solution. Question 7, we'll simplify this. So for the second equation, that's going to be 4x minus 2 is equals to 3 minus 3y. And we'll bring 3y on this side, so it's 4x plus 3y. We'll bring negative 2 on that side, equals 3 plus 2, which becomes 5. So that's the first equation, and that's the second one. We need to find the intersection, so we'll use Desmos. 4x plus 3y is 5. 4x plus 3y is equals to 5, and the second equation is minus 5x is equals to y plus 2. So the point is going to be negative 1 and 3. That will be B. Question 8, we have two equations. We need to find how many solutions do they have. So to find the number of solutions, we can check the coefficients. So using those rules, for one solution, no solution, or infinitely many solutions. So A1 is 2, A2 is 1, 2 and 1. We have negative 4, we have 2, negative 4 and 2, and we have 8 and 4. 8 and 4. We'll simplify this. So 2 over 1 is 2, negative 4 over 2 is negative 2, so that's not equal to this. And then we don't have to check this because that's going to be equals to 2. We don't really care about this. If it's not equal, that means it's going to be one solution. A is not equals to B. Question 9. It says we have infinitely many solutions. We need to find the value of A. If it's infinitely many solutions, everything is going to be equal. So 2 over B is going to be equals to negative 5 over 10, which is equals to A over negative 8. So we'll solve this first. We'll cross multiply this with this, this with this. So it's going to be 20 is equals to minus 5b, which means b is negative 4. So b is negative 4, and then we'll use negative 5 over 10 is equals to a over negative 8. So we'll cross multiply this with this, this with this. So we get 40. Negative 5 times negative 8 is 40 is equals to 10a, which means a is going to be 4. A is 4. That's it. C. Question 10. It says what cannot be the value of A. It says the system has one solution. If it's one solution, A1 over A2 is not equals to B1 over B2. And because it says it cannot be, we'll basically have to say A1 over A2 is equals to B1 over B2, because it says is not a solution. So we'll solve for this. A1 is A, A2 is 3, B1 is 2, B2 is negative 6. So that means we get A over 3 is equals to 1 over negative 3. And then we can we can cancel 3 actually, so we're left with a is equals to 1 over negative 1, which basically means just negative 1. So a is negative 1. If a is negative 1, that's not going to give you one solution. Question 11. So we can use Desmos for this. Negative 1 and 12. So we'll get negative 1 and 12. Question 12. So again, we can use Desmos for this. Y equals 0.5x plus 14. 0.5x plus 14. And the second one is going to be x minus y is minus 18. That gives us this point, negative 8 and 10. Negative 8 and 10, that means y is 10. Question 13, it says we have no solution. What's the value of a? Because it says no solution, a1 over a2 is equals to b1 over b2, and it's not equal to c1 over c2. So we're basically solving this. Now we can cross multiply. So negative a times 1 over 3 is going to be negative 1 over 3a is equals to 6 times 1 over 6. Negative 1 over 6 is going to be just negative 1. So negative 1 over 3a equals negative 1. We cancel the negatives on both sides, and then it's 1 over 3a is equals to 1, which means a is equals to 3. The 3 goes up to 1, multiplies, it becomes 3. A is going to be 3. Next question, 14. It says how many solutions. Again, you'll have to check with the rule. So 3 over negative 2, we have negative 6 over 4, and 15 over negative 10. We'll simplify this, so that's simplified. Negative 3 over 10. Negative 6 over 4 simplifies to negative 3 over 2. 5 over 10, if you divide by 5, simplifies to negative 3 over 2. And they're all equal, which means it's infinitely many solutions, or more than 2. Question 15, we have infinitely many solutions. We need to find the value of m over n. If it's infinitely many solutions, we divide it and make everything equal. So minus 6 over negative n is equals to 10 over 5. So if I simplify this, I get m over 2 is equals to 6 over n, the minus signs can cancel, and 10 over 5 is 2. So I can make this equal to this, which means 6 over n is equals to 2, which means if you bring the 2n up, it becomes 2n. 6 equals to n, which means n is equals to 3. That's n, and then we can solve this. M over 2 is equals to 2, which means if you take the 2 up, that's going to be 4. M is 4, n is 3, so it'll be 4 over 3. Question 16. We need to find the value of y. We can use Desmos, or we can solve it with algebra. Let's use algebra for this. So y is equals to root x plus 3. We have this equation. So root 4x I can write as root 4 times root x, which means root 4 becomes 2, so it's 2 root x. So this can be written as 2 root x. So this equation will be 2 root x minus y is equals to 3. I will substitute y. Because y is equals to x plus 3, I can simply plug that in here. So that's going to be 2 root x minus y, and y is actually root x plus 3 is equals to 3. We'll solve for this. 2 root x, open the brackets, minus root x minus 3 equals 3. 2 root x minus root x is going to be just root x, or 1 root x. And then negative 3 goes on that side, it becomes plus 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. To find x, square both sides, and that's going to give us 36. So x is 36. We need to find the value of y. We can take this, plug it in the first equation. X is 36, so that means y is going to be root 36 plus 3. Root of 36 is 6 plus 3 is going to be 9. So y is going to be 9. Next question, 17. It says we have a small, medium, and large jar. 16 small jars weigh as much as 2 medium and 1 large. So I can write this like this. 16 small jars are equal to 2 medium and 1 large. And then it says 4 small jars and 1 medium. 4 small and 1 medium is the same as 1 large, equals to 1L. And we need to find how many small jars have the weight of 1 large jar. So we're looking at small jars and large jars, which means we need to somehow eliminate m. I'll write this here. 16s equals 2m plus 1l. 4s plus 1m is equals to 1l. Now, if I take the second equation, I can make m the subject, so 4x goes on the other side. I can write this as m is equals to 1l, or just l, minus 4s. So 1l I just write as l, and then the 4s moves here. That's all I did. So m is equals to this. I can take this and substitute this in the first equation. So 16s is equals to 2m. m now is l minus 4s plus l. So that's going to be 16s is equals to 2l minus 8s plus l. So we'll solve this. 16s, or we can bring the 8s on that side, so it's plus 8s is equals to 2l plus l is 3l. 16 plus 8 is 24. S is equals to 3l. We can divide both sides by 3. It'll be 8s is equals to 1l. So 8 small jars weigh as much as 1 large jar. So that's going to be 8. Question 18. It says we have a test with 30 questions. 5 points are rewarded for each correct answer, and 2 are deducted for each incorrect. So it says James scored 59 points, and x is the number of correct, y is the number of incorrect answers, and we need to find the equation. So if x and y are the number of answers, that means in total there are 30 questions, so 30 in total, and he gets 5 for every correct. So x is correct. So if you multiply 5 by correct, that's the total of points he received, and then minus 2 for every he got wrong, for every question he got wrong. So minus 2y, and that'll be equals to the number of points he got, which is 59. So that's going to be D. Question 19. We have a game. It says to regions A and B, James throws 3 darts, hitting region A once and region B twice. So we can say 1A plus 2B. Total points is 18, so that will be equals to 18 points for this. And in the second attempt, he throws 3 darts. He hits region A twice, so region A twice, region B once, and that's going to be equals to 21. You can use Desmos for this as well, so you can say x plus 2y is 18, 2x plus y is 21, but in this case I'll just eliminate. So I can say a plus 2b is 18, 2a plus b is 21. I'm going to eliminate, so I'll multiply the first one, or let's say the second one, by -2 to cancel the b's out. So that's going to be -4a minus 2b is equals to minus 42. That's the second equation, and the first one, I'll just copy that here. A plus 2b is 18. I will cancel 2b, so 2b cancels out. negative 4a plus a is negative 3a. Negative 42 plus 18 is going to be negative 24. And then a is going to be 8. So a is 8. And we need to find b, so I'll use the first equation. A plus 2b is 18. A is 8 plus 2b is 18. 8 goes there, it becomes 10. 2b is equal to 18 minus 8 is 10. b is going to be 5. So b is going to be 5. And then we have question 20. It says we have a restaurant, 2 types of tables. We have a rectangular table that can seat 4 people and a circular that can seat 8 people. We have 144 people in total, and we have 30 tables. So let's say x is rectangular, y is circular. In total, we have 30 tables, so x plus y is 30. And the number of people at the rectangular table is 4, so 4x. And the number of people for the circular is 8, so 8y is equal to the number of people, which is 144. We can use Desmos for this. X plus y is 30. So x plus y is equal to 30, and 4x plus 8y is equals to 144. That's going to give us 24 and 6. So that means x is 24, y is 6. So they're saying how many rectangular tables? Rectangular is x. We need to find x. X is going to be 24.